Welcome to Crossroad Connection. We're speaking out for those left unheard. My name is David Schuringa, the host of your program, and I'm the president of Crossroad Bible Institute. Well, we've all heard it said that a dog is a man's best friend, but we're learning that a dog can also be the best friend of a kid in court. And so we have in the studio with me today a special guest. His name is Dan. How do you say that?
Cojanu.
Cojanu?
Cojanu.
Dan Cojanu. And Dan, you are with the Canine Advocacy Program.
That's correct.
And so we're looking forward to that. It's about dogs, it's about kids, and in fact we also have, I should introduce Amos here, who's, I don't know, taking a nap or just being a good dog right now, but probably hear more from him too. So we got Dan and Amos here. Dan, just give us an overview of what is this Canine Advocacy Program?
Okay. Well, I've spent over 35 years working with kids in Oakland County, neglect and abuse cases, and I've worked as a victim advocate. And the one thing we see is there's so much anxiety when a child has to come to court and testify. We expect them to do what an adult would do in the court system.
Can you give some examples of when a kid would have to go to court?
Neglect, abuse. Most of our cases are child sexual assault.
And they have to testify?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They will be 20 feet away from somebody who may have sexually assaulted them. And they have to identify that person. They have to identify, they have to talk about what happened to them. And under cross-examination of the defense attorney, the assistant prosecutor will have questions, the judge may have questions, there may be a jury involved, and this is so traumatic for a child, and we work with very, very young kids. And again, the expectations are that a child can do what an adult is expected to do, and that's just not right.
So these children are in court being cross-examined.
Yes.
That could be unfriendly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
From the defense lawyer's
Yes.
perspective, it's in fact expected to be antagonistic.
Mm-hmm.
And so what age are we talking about kids in court?
The youngest we've worked with was 3.
3 years old?
3 years old.
In a court hearing?
In a court hearing.
And the oldest? Teenagers, I suppose.
Teenagers, 16, 17 years of age.
Okay, and so how did you get involved with this idea of we're going to try to help, I'm trying to get
Sure.
our listeners, our viewers into this, get their heads around it. I mean, the point is that you have these dogs in court with the kids, but I want to creep up to that more slowly. How did you come to this idea?
Well, I used to work as a victim advocate. I used to run the program in Oakland County.
Victim advocate.
Yes, these are advocates that work with crime victims' families, and we help them through the system, make sure that they get through the court hearings, we provide any assistance they need, and we go right to court with.
So are you a
family.
public defender?
No, this is strictly social work based,
okay.
Again, providing support to the families. And in 2008, Oakland County wanted to get rid of some of us older fellows, so they were offering incentives to retire. And that was difficult for me because I wasn't quite ready to go yet. But they made a really good idea for me. But one of my coworkers, who is actually where Amos lives, brought up that in Florida there was a place called Four-Legged Advocates, and they were using dogs to help kids.
In court?
In court. So I started researching it, and I visited a program on the West Coast, and when I saw what these dogs could do, what they bring as far as helping kids relieve that anxiety, I came back to Michigan, and I looked at it, and we didn't have anything in Michigan like this. So I talked to all being in the criminal justice system so long, I had a lot of contacts. So I talked to all the judges, defense attorneys, victim advocates, assistant prosecutors. Everybody thought it was a great idea, but it was outside the box. Having a dog in a courtroom was still kind of a wild idea. And at the time, there was maybe 8 programs in the country, and now there's well over 30. And the whole principle is relieving that anxiety of these kids before they get into court.
This is before they get into court.
Before they get
So
into
the
court.
dog is not with them during the
It can be.
Oh, it can be even
Depending
while
on
they're,
the
while they're
dog.
being questioned and stuff?
Absolutely, sitting right in the box, right at their feet like this.
But this also gets, before they go into court, they spend time
Absolutely.
with the dog.
Because see, that's, the kids coming in, they know what they have to do. They've been told by a number of people that, you know, you have to tell the truth, you have to talk to the judge, you have to answer questions. They know coming in what they have to do. The dog brings in a whole new focus.
What is that new focus?
They don't have to worry about what I call is what's on the other side of the wall. They've never been in a courtroom. They don't know if, and they watch these horrid TV shows where defense attorneys are screaming and yelling and things are getting thrown. They're frightened to death. You bring in a big fuzzy dog that they can lay on, they can draw pictures. We go for walks with the kids. They have a whole focus now. It's something, there's something positive going on here instead of the fear of testifying. And the key, when I meet a kid, I tell them that as long as we're here today, Amos is your dog. And they beam because they've been given a sense of power in a powerless situation. And when we're walking with Amos, all the court staff know that if they see a child walking there, to ask that child, can I pet your dog?
Ah,
Again,
really?
big smiles. This is my dog, I'm proud. And I introduce him as my new handler.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you get that kind of anxiety down, these kids go into court and do very, very well. And if the judge allows the dog in the box, that's even better. He'll lay there just like this for an hour plus. And again, relieving that anxiety. And we take it all away to, we walk them out at the end of the day right to their car. They have something positive about this horrid experience.
Have there been any kind of psychological studies in terms of what's going on?
I can tell you, anybody that has a program like this could sit in here for hours and tell you about the reaction that they see with the kids, the hugs at the end. I get collages made with Amos's face and pictures of him on there. Phone calls.
So the effectiveness is largely anecdotal, but it's so overwhelming that it can't be denied.
Oh, absolutely not. We've worked with a number of children who have refused to testify, said, I'm not doing this. 100% of them were able to do it after spending approximately 30 minutes with Amos. And because I am a victim advocate, I'm able to explain the court system once they're comfortable with the dog, you know, what they're going to need to do, you know, when they get in there, you know, and if we're not allowed in a courtroom, Amos is going to be right there at the door when you come out. So that's the first face they see when they leave the courtroom is that cute face. They have something, again, positive, something to look forward to, and
Sounds like Lassie and Timmy.
I think it's better. I think it's better. And this is what we've been doing, and it's catching on all over the state. And prosecutors around the state are really seeing the benefits as far as, you know, doing less harm, I guess is the whole point.
To the kids
Yes.
going through that situation.
Because, again, it's the expectations that these little kids are going to come in and do what an adult's expected to do. Adults, it's horrible enough, frankly, to come in and have to face your accuser and sit this far away.
Mm-hmm.
But you drop that down to even a 6, 7, 8-year-old, that's horrendous. And we do a little less harm. You know, people always ask me, is your whole objective to get the kid to testify? I would like them to, frankly, because it makes the system work. But again, I want to do a little less harm. If they don't, okay, but we didn't re-victimize that child because we had something positive to offer them.
You mean sometimes they won't testify?
Rarely, they usually do, but a lot of them will come in and say they won't. But again, with Amos, we have 100% success with the kids actually going in and doing it.
Well, we're going to take a little break right now.
Okay.
But after the break, we got to see Amos in action a little bit. Let's see what he can do.
This is Amos working right now.
This
actually,
is Amos
but yeah.
working right now. Okay. We'll be right back after this.
Are you in prison? Do you know someone who is? Through CBI Bible studies and encouragement from CBI instructors, more than 40,000 people behind bars are learning the truth about salvation through Christ and are developing deeper relationships with God. For an enrollment form, please visit us online at cbi.fm.
Welcome back to Crossroad Connection. I'm talking with Dan Cojanu. He's Vice President and Administrator of the Canine Advocacy Program. Isn't that correct?
Founder, program director.
Oh, and founder.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Program. Yours was the first one in Michigan, correct?
Yes, it was. Yes,
And I think you said in the first segment that you heard about this in Florida, and now across the country there are like 30 of these going on.
At least 30 going on.
I mean, it's
right
just
now.
it's caught on like wildfire.
Yeah, once people see the benefits and how how the kids are reacting to it and that, and putting dogs into service, it's just expanding at an incredible rate.
Right. Well, let's talk about Amos here. Now, Amos is taking a nap. It looks like. What's with the scarf?
Well, we use scarves because it encourages people to pet the kids in that. I don't know about you, when I see a dog with a vest on, it just screams, "Don't touch me, don't pet me." And it usually says that on it, frankly. We want to encourage interaction with the kids and the general public, so we use scarves. And
scarf is "Come pet me"?
it really, and it's got, the logo has he's actually in between the logo, between the two kids and that. And the kids always, "Oh, that looks like Amos," type of thing. And we have all labs, so it pretty much carries over to all the different counties. But like I said, I don't like vests, and I won't allow vests just because it just sends a whole different message. I mean, this is a support. This is a canine advocate. This is not a dog that's going to sniff out drugs or something like that. No.
The police or something like that.
No.
Because I wasn't sure before you came, what kind of dog program this was, because you also hear about, I've seen it in prisons,
Right.
where they have the people in prison train and take care of dogs, and it seems to keep the population much milder, quieter, and even help recidivism rates. Have you heard about that?
We get our dogs from Leader Dogs for the Blind. They're donated from Leader Dogs.
Oh, there you go.
And they have a program right now. I think they're in 4 prisons, possibly more, where they're actually raising the puppies for Leader Dogs.
Right.
And there's on Facebook, it's called Puppies Inside. And it shows the inmates raising the puppies, going through all the training. That's amazing. And I know the inmates are having a great time. The dogs are so well trained when they're coming out of there. The success rate is actually more than being raised in a family. I mean, they have a lot of time, and I think they're 3-person teams that help.
There's an incentive there.
Yeah, it's an amazing program.
So Amos is introduced to the kids before they go into court.
Right.
And what do they do? Just hang out together? Do they?
Well,
what do they do with the
Amos,
dog?
Up. When we first meet a kid, we'll ask them what they think Amos does, and they'll say sniffs drugs, finds lost kids or whatever, bites bad guys, and we tell them what they do, and that Amos will be yours today, and then I introduce them, and I'll say, well, you got to shake Amos's paw, shake, and they shake. And then they give him a carrot.
Can I shake his hand?
Absolutely. Come here, Amos.
Here, Amos.
If you give him a carrot flat-handed, he'll be fine. Sit. Oh, you didn't make him shake.
Oh, what did I do wrong?
Just tell him to shake when he sit.
Oh.
Amos, sit.
Okay, sit. Shake.
Oh. You gave it to him too quick. Amos, sit.
He's taking advantage of me.
He is. Shake.
Okay, shake. Oh,
there you go.
Okay. That'll boy. Look at this. Nice dog. My hand's all wet.
It is. We had one time, we had a little 3-year-old boy, and I was trying to teach him the trick, and he was a little young, and he looked at the carrot and popped it in his mouth.
I love it.
And poor Amos is looking at him like, hey, that was mine.
Hey, boy.
But,
and Amos is what, about 8 years old, 7 years old?
Well, he's 6. He'll be 7 in April.
I'm going to take him home.
Everybody wants to. Okay, down. Down. And after that, we'll go for walks, and the kids will want to curl up on him.
You were saying at the break that you'll find the kids sleeping with the dog.
I've had a couple kids we had to wake up to go into court.
They're both sleeping.
They're both sleeping. Yeah. Amos does snore. Hopefully he will not show that today. But
how does an animal get so accustomed to being able to hang out, trust strangers, and right? I mean,
I have to give Leader Dogs the credit. These dogs are so beautifully trained. I mean, they start their training at 8 weeks. We get most of our dogs at about 18 months. They know all the commands, and Leader Dog screens each dog for our program before they give them to our program. Their temperament is good. Their training is just unbelievable. And labs, by their own nature.
This is a Labrador Retriever.
Right.
I'm not a dog expert.
Right.
And those kind of dogs are especially fit for this kind of thing.
I think, yeah, they have the
their
temperament. Absolutely, absolutely.
That is amazing. Okay, so they have this dog, and it's kind of like their dog for the day.
For the day, and they will draw pictures.
And they like to hear that. I mean, what do you say to them?
Again, I just say, as long as you're here today, Amos is your dog. And again, getting that power. I have a little bit of power. I have a little bit of control today over a court system that's telling me what I have to do today. And plus, his whole disposition, his face. We have a little trading card we give to the kids after they're done testifying. When I walk them out to the car, it's got a little picture of Amos and all of his stuff on the back. Again, walking away with something positive is the whole key. And if they know he's coming, if the detective has already told them, they're just beside themselves that somebody's going to bring a dog to court. I get to play with the dog, and it makes the system work. It makes the system work.
Now, we talked about that that you give them the dog and meet with the dog prior to the court hearing.
Yes.
And do they come with them into the hearing then while they're being, because this can be an antagonistic situation and so forth, does the dog come with them?
It depends on the judge.
Judges have a discretion with that?
Judges absolutely have the discretion about allowing the dog in the courtroom. Some like it, some don't. And what I tell people is that the dog necessarily doesn't have to come in, because if we've done our work properly and we've brought that anxiety down, that child's going to be fine. They know that there's going to be a big fuzzy guy on the other side of the door waiting for them when they get out. And we've covered the things about what you need to do in court. And because I know pretty much everybody over there, I can talk about, Judge such and such has got cats, or he has a dog, or she has a dog. I can kind of personalize the whole system. I know the prosecutor, oh my gosh, he loves Amos, always brings him treats. And again, get that anxiety down, personalize it a little bit, instead of just walking into this courtroom and wondering if it's going to be like something you saw on TV. That's a big hurdle.
Well, it's it's just fascinating, because I've also heard that at the other end of life, in some rest homes, they'll bring a dog or a cat in, and it seems to have this incredibly soothing sort of effect on people.
My mother was in assisted living, and when we come back from court, I would take Amos out there, and we'd go visit her. I had to plan on an extra hour and a half before I could get out of there, because everybody wanted to see the dog.
Oh, okay.
But in the later stages where she wasn't able to really comprehend too much, you would always see her smile when Amos dropped his paws up on the bed. You get a little smile. She knew he was there. So yeah, we would do that. There's a lot of dogs doing that in nursing homes. I found one the other day actually goes to funeral homes to kind of support the people that are there in times of grief, that type of thing. It's unlimited as far as what we can do, because in my program, I have these dogs that work in the court. I have 6 more dogs that work with veterans in veterans treatment courts. Same principle.
With veterans?
With veterans.
Explain more.
Well, they're coming in with PTSD and have gotten into some trouble with the law.
Okay.
When they're sitting around for 2 hours before they go to court, your anxiety's going up here. Bring a dog in.
Really?
We had a situation, we tried a new dog one time, Spitfire. It was a 70-pound Doberman. And I saw a guy on the other side of the courtroom, and he was starting to have a little trouble. He was getting very, very nervous. And the Spitfire went over and climbed up in his lap, not laying down, but straight up. And everybody looked over, and he had his arms around this dog, grinning ear to ear. The judge stopped the court hearing. Everybody was just beside themselves. So we're doing those kind of things. We have a dog at the juvenile home. It's lunch with Philly. If the kids in one particular building get all of their points, they get to spend 1 hour of their lunchtime with this dog.
After the break, I want to talk a little bit with, how how does this program spread, and how can people get involved? If
Sure.
in a particular court setting and so forth, and where do they turn for that help? We'll be right back with Dan and with Amos right after this.
Correcting Bible study lessons is crucial to helping inmates. To partner with CBI in this safe and secure role, please visit us at cbi.fm on the web.
Welcome back to Crossroad Connection. We're having a special show today. We have Dan with us, and we have his special dog Amos, and this is part of the Canine Advocacy Program.
Correct.
And you bring a dog in to help kids who are nervous and who are going to who will be going to court and who have to maybe testify to some sexual problem difficulties and violence and so forth and other things. Are the kids always receptive of the dog? I mean, sometimes people are afraid of dogs, right?
Yes, and we screen those kids out. If they're afraid of dogs or have allergies, we don't use them. But we had one young lady, I'll never forget her. We went out to see her at court, and I noticed she wasn't interacting with Amos. I'm talking to her mom, introducing the program. And
How old is she?
She's probably 12.
Okay. All
And,
right.
her,
And she was not interacting with
no,
Amos.
she just stood there askance at Amos, which is very unusual because he's
like a big hound dog.
very
You want to hug him,
welcoming,
right?
Absolutely. And her mom said, well, she got mauled by a dog a few years ago, and the child had scars up and down her neck and
From a
back of
dog.
her ear from a dog. And I said, you know what, I apologize, I didn't know that. I said, we'll leave. And because these dogs are so intuitive, Amos flipped over on his back, paws folded, legs out like this, and this girl just started laughing.
He started clowning up for her?
Absolutely. She reached over and petted his belly, and he's wiggling around and that, and she starts laughing, and she got so comfortable in the space of 5-6 minutes that we wound up staying with her in court, and we came back for another court hearing, and she scared everybody because as Amos and I were coming through the metal detector, we hear this, Amos, just this loud scream that he was there. And of course, he just goes running over to her type of thing. So she overcame her fear of dogs in a matter of minutes. And, plus we were able to work with her in a court situation. But I think that's one of the key, all dogs are intuitive. Amos sets that bar so high. He, there's a video on our website that we did with one of the local stations where he used to work in a group with teenage girls who had been sexually assaulted. And he was actually a group member. He would work with them. I would stay outside and read. And one of the girls mentioned that somebody was really having a rough time. And again, the intuitiveness of the dogs, he went right over and just started licking the tears off of her face while she was talking to the rest of the girls in group. Again, he knows who needs him, and that's where he goes. He's an amazing dog.
Yeah, that sure
I can't say,
sounds
he
like
really
it.
is. I'm honored to work
What's
with him.
the website that people can go and find more information on this?
They go to www.capmich.com, capmish.com.
Capmish.com, that's on the screen. So they can go there and they can find out more about this program. But a second question I have is how does this get going somewhere? It started in Florida. You saw it and made it happen here. How is this spreading? How can this happen in more places?
Well, for our court dogs, I do presentations at prosecutors' offices around the state.
Okay.
And if they say, one of my victim advocates is willing to adopt the dog and work with the program, then we put them on a wait list to get a dog. And then once they get their dog, I go out and start the courtroom training with them. So our court dogs, the only handlers we really allow are people in the system, because it's very difficult to sit in a court hearing and listen to what these children have to say if you're not, I don't want to say used to it, but experienced at hearing these type of things. So as far as working in that program, it really has to be a victim advocate or somebody in the court system. Our veterans court people, I get volunteers with all different reasons wanting to work. They have to have a very well-trained dog, and and want to hang out with the veterans and talk and things like that. So that's a little bit easier to get into in our program. Working at the juvenile facilities, that's pretty simple as long as somebody really is a good dog handler, and I do go out and assess that and have a well-trained dog. We can't, letting a dog just run around is not good.
Not going to do it.
No, and I use people from leader dogs like to volunteer their dogs with me. I have professional handlers who do obedience training, agility, show dogs type of thing.
And just so our viewers know, I think we alluded to it, but many of these dogs are trained by people in prison, right?
The puppies coming through Leader Dog right now, a lot of them are being trained. In fact, we have one dog out of Iowa, I believe, came out of the prison system in Iowa.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michigan just keeps expanding the puppy raiser program.
And it has shown to have very positive effects on the inmates, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
I saw it one time in a Kentucky prison where they trained dogs, and they said it just kind of keeps the whole atmosphere of the prison softer, and it has some kind of transformative effect upon the people in prison.
And if you go, the Puppies Inside on Facebook that I was telling you about earlier, if you look at, I mean, you're expecting these big, mean guys, with tattoos all over and everything. And when you see a dog sitting on their shoulder, licking their face, and see the reaction, that goes away. That whole myth is dispelled right there. I mean, these are guys that they're doing something to give back. They're getting a lot out of it. Leader Dog is getting something out of it. The dogs have wonderful care while they're there. It's worth going to see just the impact they're having in the prison system.
Now, where does Amos stay at night? Where does he sleep?
Amos has a family where he lives, and
A family?
yeah, that works at the prosecutor's office. So when I
Okay.
need him, I have the key to the house. I just let him know I'm coming, and pick him up, bring him back whenever I need him.
Dan, this has been a real treat.
Well, thank you for having us out. Although Amos did bring you something.
Really?
Okay, in this little bag, but I do need to warn you, it is brown, soft, and squishy.
Oh,
And it's from Amos.
it's not orange, is it?
No, but it's soft, brown, and squishy.
Okay. Now that is great.
At sentencing, we give these to the kids. Only at sentencing, when all the court is done and there's no more room.
You got a close-up of that?
The kids will get a little Amos to take with them.
Is this mine?
It is yours. And
I'll put that on my desk.
some
I
of the
like that.
judges have them on their bench, to welcome kids and that type of thing.
That
so.
is precious. Amos, here, Amos. Come here. Come here. Come here. Me and my buddy. I've always been a cat person, but I think maybe I'm a dog person now.
Everybody tries to take Amos home with them, so we sometimes we have discussions with judges about who he's leaving with. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dan.
Oh,
and
my pleasure.
Thank
you
you,
for having
Amos.
us.
And thank you for being with us. And we hope that we'll see you again right here next week.